Vicar can paste his posters on my cab and coaches, so wherever I go, they'll go too.
It's our way of saying, bend over just a little bit farther so we can stick this big advertising dick up your ass a little bit deeper, you miserable, no-good, dumbass fucking consumer.
Let's talk about Season 8's Thomas to the Rescue.
Cinders and ashes, spluttered Thomas.
Continuing my series of finding and talking about gems within the hit era of Thomas and Friends. I just decided to continue this series today, and as of writing this script, it's January 30th. And I was surprised to rediscover this episode, as it is pretty damn good. Now, is this era's dialogue a bit more stiff, delivered slower, simplified, and for a younger audience compared to the classic series? Yes, but despite all of that, I still thoroughly enjoyed myself watching this episode. Getting right into it, it starts out the same as every episode during this time. Introductory fluff while showing the engines working. It's nice to see the engines in some rolling stock, I guess.
All over the island, steam engines and diesel engines were happily working together.
So Thomas is resting at the sheds when the Fat Controller tells him he needs him for a job at the quarry. Here's a nitpick that I do have with this scene. While I do enjoy how relaxing and chill many of these Season 8 episodes feel, it's almost a blessing and a curse. Because while I do enjoy the small scope, I also miss seeing the busy railway throughout the episode. For example, Thomas is all alone at the sheds. There's no other engines resting in the sheds or even at the Tidmouth yard off to the side.
I need an engine that is both useful and reliable.
The scene is very quiet and there's no engine whistles or sound effects in the background. It's very different compared to the classic series, even to Season 7, which was a transitional year for the brand. But Thomas arrives at the quarry to find Diesel working there as well. I also keep forgetting that Diesel was sort of made a permanent addition to the railway in Season 7. Thomas says he's come to help out Mavis, but this makes me wonder, where is Bill and Ben?
You had a cough in your smoke box yesterday. It's your fault the diesel came.
My immune system is equipped with the biological equivalent of fully automatic military assault rifles with night vision and laser scopes,
replied Ben.
Those are two engines I think really should have appeared in this episode, as the quarry just doesn't feel the same otherwise. So Diesel sets up the plot of the episode.
Steamies can't help, not like a diesel.
I love this scene here, especially the sound effect when Diesel bumps Thomas.
Cinders and ashes, spluttered Thomas.
I also love Diesel's facial expression here as well. The dialogue isn't the best, I will say that, but it's always entertaining when Diesel reminds the others of steam engines being phased out and being scrapped.
Oh, it's just a stinky old steamy engine.
This may be an overused idea, but it depends on if the rest of the episode is well done. And in this episode's case, I definitely think it is. So Thomas is up at night, thinking about what Diesel had said. We love a good scrapyard shot. So Salty delivers fresh fuel from the mainland, and this makes me curious. Has the diesel fuel always come from the mainland? Does Sodor not produce their own diesel fuel? Now we come to one of my favorite scenes within this episode. Water had leaked into the fuel, causing the diesels of the island to break down.
Black, smelly smoke billowed from his exhaust. I feel sick, wailed Diesel.
Including Diesel, who just a second ago was feeling pretty good about himself.
Look at me go!
I can almost feel how nasty that smoke is through the screen. I love it. If only they showed us Daisy breaking down as well. Imagine that. I will say, I love the sound effect of Thomas puffing away in this scene. I'm not a huge fan of this era's sound effects as a whole, but certain ones like this are just splendid. So here's the main reason why I enjoy this episode. Thomas was fearful of Diesel's words, and was worried about Sir Topham Hatt scrapping the steam engines. But without fuel, the diesels are rendered useless. and there's no scrapping steam engines with broken down diesels across the island. But of course, Thomas does the right thing and fetches the proper fuel. It's a very simple idea, but as a standalone episode, along with the rest of that the episode has to offer, it's a very enjoyable watch. Thomas helps out Salty and then Ari and Bert. It is still sad to see though how Ari and Bert were in season 5 and then to see what they later would become. So the episode ends with Thomas returning to the quarry and rescuing Diesel and Mavis. The dialogue here really isn't the best either, but that's expected with this era. The expectations are shifted a bit.
And even Diesel had to admit that Thomas is a very special engine.
Like I've said before, the small scope of these episodes is a blessing and a curse, as this episode definitely would have benefited from the likes of Bill and Ben, poking fun at Diesel after he broke down. While having a small scope is nice sometimes, I will always prefer seeing lots of engines within an episode. The Sodor Railway should always feel busy no matter where you are. Thomas to the Rescue is filled with many fun scenes, however, whether it's Diesel bumping Thomas, Diesel breaking down,
Black, smelly smoke billowed from his exhaust. I feel sick, wailed Diesel.
or this shot of Thomas leaving the fuel depot.
His pistons creaked and his wheels squeaked, but he kept on puffing.
Definitely go back and check this episode out for yourself. You may just find a thing or two that you enjoy.